Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman by heading over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Well, hello everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Hypecast!
Hypecast.
The show where we get hyped about stuff and things. I'm your co-host, Tom Ryman.
I'm your other co-host, David Bell.
And I'm your third co-host, Drew Grant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For jumping right in there.
Yeah.
We usually just stare at our guests blankly until they do it.
Oh, no. I'll do it like I do Schmodown, which is I'll just enter right before my cue starts and then just pause and then just re-enter without them.
Right.
Yeah, no, I got it.
And joining us is special guest Alex Schmidt, who's walking in.
As he walks through the room.
Sorry,
with
Alex.
one wire,
Sorry.
like one hanger, which is just creepy.
Welcome to Describe Alex Cast. All right.
Okay,
All right.
guys, seriously.
Yeah.
Why
Let's do
so
this.
seriously?
Let's do this.
Let's
guys.
do this. Let's get into the trailers.
Okay.
All right.
This first one is for Onward.
Sure. I like how it's the new Pixar movie. Is it Pixar? It is Pixar. It's a new Pixar movie, which they've essentially made like Fantasy Weekend at Bernie's, and I love that.
Except, here's my issue.
Uh-huh.
Do you like it, David? Because it's about bringing your dead parents back to life. An issue I know that you feel very strongly against when it comes to children movies.
Well, here's the thing: is that yes, but also I trust Pixar to actually handle that.
Right, because he's like kind of like a half decomposed corpse, and he's like, he's not quite real.
Right, and also I just trust them to have the message that needs to be said about that sort of subject. Because that's a pretty nuts premise. But watching this, I just sort of was like, well, it's Pixar, so I'm sure they'll say something pretty profound and touching.
Coco did that pretty well too. It's sort of like the dead are dead, but you're not getting your daddy or mommy back.
Right.
It's no Pokemon.
In theory, that's an okay thing to do. It depends on what you say about it, And Pokemon, that was just like, and he comes back and everything's great.
I mean, I guess like I'm just like, how many people are like petitioning for Congress, being like, my father never came back from the dead, and Pokemon Go really raised my expectations. There's so many movies about Ghost Dad.
Right,
literally.
And there shouldn't be if it's not handled well. But I don't know.
We're censoring it.
Yeah,
this looks good. Who's the main voice of the older brother? It was on the tip of my tongue.
Chris Pratt.
That's what's driving me.
That's
nuts.
that's like my biggest issue, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Why?
I mean, I don't mind Chris Pratt, but he got kind of annoying. I'm kind of like.
Oh my God, you're like, because of who he is as a person?
Well, sort of. Like, you ever have an actor who you're just kind of getting... I got sick of him pretty quick. Which isn't to say I won't... Like, I got sick of Ryan Reynolds for a while. And
Ryan
and
Reynolds, yeah.
But then I got the opposite of sick of him. And it's when an actor has, like, a specific comedic bit.
Mm-hmm.
When they're like, nah, I'm the funny guy. And, like, it starts getting a little stale.
I think I always hated Ryan Reynolds, and now I'm finally coming around on Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, I think that's my thing. Is I was always like, this guy seems like a frat boy. Like,
right. It's not necessarily their fault.
Not all white men.
It's just like, yeah.
not all Van Hoosen, whatever his name is.
Van Wilder.
Not all Van Wilders.
Yeah, Van Wilder was kind of, I don't know.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I get what you're saying.
Yes.
There's certain people that seem like annoying, and now I've like aged into liking them, or they've changed a little bit.
And Pratt sort of, I don't know, he's starting to bug me. It might be about just because Star-Lord fucking caused the snap.
He did.
Wait, so it might be because he married into the Schwarzenegger family as a person, and it might be because of the snap, but like either way, like he's out. I like that. I like that.
Oh, I'm just like, nah.
Well,
like when I see his name in a movie, it's doesn't excite me as much. Because when like Passengers,
it's like when you get your second bag of Doritos.
Yeah,
and it's like this was awesome. Like 10 minutes ago. And
right,
Tom. I feel like these jokes no longer apply to you.
And he's played just enough kind of shitty people.
Wait, really? I feel like Chris Pratt's like
Star-Lord was shitty, and then Passengers was really shitty.
Wait, kind of strongly disagree. I feel like his move in Passengers was truly a move that we all would have done. Like there was a YA book I read about this like a long time ago, where it's like you
condemned Jennifer Lawrence to die on the ship.
Not to die, but just to have like a companion. And it was like it turned out there was somebody else on the ship too.
Right.
I mean, I read a book once, I forget what it was, a long time ago, where it's like a guy went into space. He was a little kid with his parents, and he woke up out of like the freeze.
That's a Stephen King book, I believe, isn't it?
No, I put it on Reddit. Someone else figured out what it was, and they wake up and he's all old.
The kid lived like.
Like the kid lived, but then he has these adventures with his now young brothers and sisters and stuff as an old man. It's crazy, but like that's the saddest thing in the world. You'd go insane. Of course, you'd go insane. Wake up the hot chick. And by the way, there's some class issues there. I was thinking more the Lego Movie. Like he's got that thing going.
I like him in the Lego Movie.
So like this is the second animated thing,
Yeah. I don't know. It's fine. Like, it's fine that he's
all
in a
fine.
Pixar. He's allowed to do it.
When I thought it was Channing Tatum for a hot second, I was very excited.
It's him and Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, yeah.
Oh my God, that's adorable. Come on.
I think that might be part of it too, is Tom Holland showed up and I'm just like, better Chris Pratt.
Or like, wait, are we just
I like
putting...
the new version.
Oh God, it's happening. It's happening. It's just Marvel and Disney, it's one thing. They're just, Oh my God, it's happening.
They probably did it in the same building.
Oh
they didn't
my
even have
God.
to. They walked out 2 doors down the hall and recorded the voices for this movie.
Guys, you remember I've been gone for 6 weeks out of LA, so I've forgotten that that's the only thing that matters in the world.
Tom Holland was probably going to the bathroom and they were like, "Hey, you want to jump in here and do a Pixar real quick?
You want to be like a fucking elf in this Pixar movie?
Yeah.
Chris Pratt's your brother.
Yeah, go. God, go.
Here's $4 million.
Like, I see the video of him like saving a fan like that was being trampled by all the other people trying to get to Tom Holland.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like that woman, she's never gonna forget that moment of her life, or that femur crash. It's like in Tommy, she's gonna scar on her face forever.
I mean, the best is still fucking Tom Hardy chasing a scooter thief.
On the moped.
Moped thief. Because that's something you'll never forget, is stealing a moped, looking behind you and being like, is that fucking Tom Hardy?
I know, you're like, oh, it's Logan Marshall Green, okay.
Yeah.
It's Dime Store Hardy. What's next?
Star Trek Picard.
Got a lot of feelings about this for someone who never watched Star Trek.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll agree with those feelings. Go on.
I thought it was beautiful. I was like, this is how you do it. This is how you get people into a show that they weren't into before. I had no interest in seeing. It looked like Logan. Like it had that sense of like being like, this is like, a separate journey for him, but it's going, and here's like the faces that are kind of familiar, but this is a separate part of his life where it's like about like Earth politics and it's about like loss and memory. And
if that's what it's about, I am in. I do not trust the Star Trek people, the current people, to make it about that.
Right.
Is it the same ones that are doing the ones?
Yes.
It is? Not Tarantino?
No, it's not Tarantino.
And that's the thing, is the original TNG was also that. It was very, like, it was a more internal journey. Picard, the problem with Picard as a character is he was always closed off.
Yeah, which is what's cool about this.
Yes. If they do it right, it's just that thing where it's like, I don't know if I trust you guys.
But I do trust him.
Yeah,
I do trust him.
What it is this trailer. I feel like they saw people's reactions to the one before it, because this one laid off all the shots of action sequences. Because the last trailer before it was like a woman high kicking a board.
Right. It was like it was special boy, special girl action.
She's the one. She's the key. So.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I think this trailer might be hiding a few.
So
things.
he's like, this is if
he's
they
Obi-Wan.
focus. Yeah, no, or like The Last Jedi. It's no longer about Rey. We're gonna just focus on what Luke's doing on this. I I do kind of like the idea that they're taking Battlestar Galactica and putting it on Earth, and that's like the show.
Right.
Like he's just dealing with the bureaucracy of space missions after being retired.
I'm almost certain, though, what we saw
Bernie
in this
Sanders.
trailer is entirely the first episode before they then send him into space. Because Jonathan Frakes, the data thing is a dream, which they show in the trailer.
Wait, oh, yeah.
I think they promised all the other characters back, like Jonathan Frakes as Riker.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be in it for like the first episode. And then they're not going to be regular characters.
Seems like it's clearly that scene where he goes to Riker's house and he's
and
married
Riker
to
tells
Troy
him
and
to go do the
yeah.
thing. And then for the rest of the series, it's going to be Picard.
You don't think the gang's back? You think you get some of the gang back together? You don't think there's some of that like false, the hero rejecting the journey? What else are they doing with their career?
I would like that, but no, I don't think that's what's going to happen.
I think
really,
I think after the first few episodes, he's going to get on a ship with a bunch of young people, and it's just going to be trying to recapture
Firefly.
That.
I think there's also a Firefly element of here that I think is going to be really fun to watch. Like, he has a great sense of comedic timing. Patrick Stewart is a very funny actor. This would be great to like see him kind of explore that range a little bit. With like those young kids.
Yeah, that's the thing is Patrick Stewart yelling at a bunch of young people on a ship. Not the worst idea.
No,
not really Picard though.
No,
not
and that's the thing.
But you get old, you get cranky. It's not really.
True,
it's not Xavier either.
Well,
I mean,
I would argue it depends on the nature of the episodes from there on.
I wouldn't
Because again,
understand the
TNG
big
is
thrust.
not action.
Well, I think what's interesting is like the whole idea of Star Trek, as I understood it, was like Earth and everyone had gotten like together and we were all kumbaya. This seems to imply that there's been some sort of new sort of insidious like Earth politics that have come up and like
that's sort of Star Trek with TNG.
Really?
Well, the joke with TNG is anytime there's an admiral, they're either incompetent or secretly evil.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
but this is dealing with like the state
That's also
Senate
original
level.
series.
Yeah, this is like going back to like the Star Wars prequel and getting to see the Senate meetings
Right.
of the corrupt.
Yeah.
He's a lobbyist.
My biggest praise for this
Get
show
the Koch brothers in the Star Trek universe.
is the
Oh my
first.
God, yes.
This is the first Star Trek show in more than a decade that is going forward in time, and so I'll give it that.
That's true.
Yeah, almost everything we've seen in Star Trek for the last like 10, 15 years has been a prequel of some kind.
Almost 20. That's
Or
when
a
when,
reboot.
when Enterprise came out. It was like
Because
early
when
2000s.
they touched hands or when they docked ships and the two of them,
Yeah, they gingerly touched tips.
yeah, they
Wait,
did.
who's touched tips?
No, when
Who's touching tips?
Shatner and was it Picard?
Yeah.
Yep, they touched tips.
Yeah, they
The
touched
famous
tips.
scene where they
They
touch
sure
tips.
they,
They
touch,
touched
they
tips?
touched tips.
Yeah,
Guys, I don't know. I don't know.
On horseback.
Guys, I haven't slept that much recently. They touched tips.
They
you know?
touched
Yeah, they touched tips.
They did. It's not a handshake. It's not a little. They sort of
They
touched.
touch tips.
touch
Can you guys hear me in the Dolby? Like what I'm doing here? They
She's
touched
touching. She's touching. They're touching tips.
They're,
Yeah,
they're,
tips.
they're touching
I remember the
tips.
trailer for Generations had me so psyched because it just like the first teaser was just like two guys on horses and the reveal is that it's Picard and Shatner and it's just like I don't know what circumstance that is and I am so fucking in for this.
Wasn't that the kind of the thing about Star Trek though? Because they're like, now we're just going to put Shakespeare in outer space, or like they had that little holodeck thing. Which, by the way, it seems like it would be such a bad idea of like distraction.
Oh
Like,
yeah, the
don't,
holodeck.
Don't do that. Don't have everyone like out doing like a little party in like France in the 70s.
I hate to credit Scott Adams for anything,
Ha!
but he had a quote that said the holodeck would be man's last invention, and that's a good description of the holodeck.
Yeah.
Well, that's in either the Illustrated Man or one of the other Ray Bradbury stories starts out with like a holodeck room basically, and these
That's
two kids.
Illustrated Man, yeah, with
and
the
then-
lions.
with the lions who
Yeah.
eat the parents. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah, it's terrific.
glad we all know books.
I actually just know the movie.
Oh,
But the movie had that scene.
I remember like reading that and being like, yeah, I'm gonna put my parents in a fucking holodeck.
Right. Kids in a holodeck. I don't think you'd put kids. It'd be like the internet.
Oh, God.
right?
No. It was like their babysitter, and then they just managed to fuck with it enough so they're like their parents were like, "Where
They
are
turn
you?"
off the safety protocol.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't wanna-
Kids just killing each
They
other. in the holodeck.
Jumanji. Yeah.
I don't want to deviate too much, but like the way if you like parents will post their kids like search history of like boobies and stuff like that, like a holodeck history of like a teenager going through puberty, because it would be like sexy stuff, but not anything that makes sense.
Yeah, you'd be like
It'd
those
be a-
tentacles, like
Yeah.
yeah. They're like yeah.
Garfield is in there?
Yeah, of course Garfield's in there.
But like the opposite way.
Yeah.
He loves Mondays. I don't get it.
Oh man.
I know. I don't know. This again. So I have to really now separate myself from what the trailers make me feel on an emotional level. Again, like I really wish I'd stick around in LA long enough to do the guild conference for the for the score and soundtrack people. Like they invited me to be like help program their conference for the soundtrack Guild of America. Yeah, the music supervisor. Sorry, Guild of America. Because like it was the guy from Breaking Bad, and I just was always writing about how their scores were awesome. Now that ending like Joker fucking trailer was amazing, and that trailer that was Where the Wild Things Are was amazing, and I think this Picard trailer is amazing.
Yeah.
That speaks nothing to the show itself. It's edited by different people, and it's created by a different like landscape, and it's
I
I
agree with you. The trailers so far have made me excited. I'm just like very cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next one, which I don't fucking. It's called Earthquake Bird. Is this, what was this?
It's some kind of like thriller. It's going to be on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch the fuck
with her Japanese boyfriend who won't stop taking her photograph.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Do you guys? Oh wait, no. Do you think this is? I don't think it's that. I think it's literally based on. I think this novel might be based on that really horrific, scariest book I've ever read, true crime story, The People Who Eat Darkness. You guys ever heard about this?
No.
Oh, it's this guy in Japan who preyed on white hostess women that, they're not quite prostitutes, they're not quite dancers, they're hostesses, so they're meant to like entertain the men that night and be conversationalists. And there were a bunch of them who went missing around the same time, and it turned out to be this one guy who was really rich, and he wasn't bad looking, and it was like he would take them back to his house and drug them, and he wouldn't always kill them, so sometimes he just would like wake up groggy somewhere else. But then they found all these, when one woman's body was found eventually, they found like all these tapes of him like putting bags on their heads and like having sex with their corpses, and like the photography. It was the most horrific thing, and it was all about how like the Japanese culture was like so little cared about these women. Even like it took like somebody's dad coming to.
This is true crime. This is like based off a true thing.
This is the most horrifying book I've ever read in my life, because these were college student girls that were there for like a semester.
Right. This does look similar.
Yeah.
I wonder if the novel is like based at least on elements of it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, because she's a hostess. She sees her friends go missing. It's the guy with the camera. He's a handsome young man. Like it's based on a novel, but that novel has to be based on this horrific thing that happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely get that vibe. The thriller.
Oh, for sure.
Serial killer. Don't know what Earthquake Bird means.
I don't know. It's probably something that we'll understand once we see the film.
Yeah. I was super excited to see something called Earthquake Bird coming out. And
Not what I expected.
Gonna be fucking awesome.
It's so
and
funny.
I was like, oh,
I thought it was
okay.
when you said that, I was like, we're talking about the snake one, right? Because that's
Yeah. Yeah, I have no other thoughts about Earthquake Bird. It just looks like a fun thriller.
Oh, I think if it is what I think it is, it at least has to be based on like just tertiarily based on that source material. It's one of the most messed up stories. I'm not sure they're going to do it great like OJ or whatever, but it's a messed up story about how little regard they have for like women that do this kind of work.
Right.
Kind of Jack the Ripper style.
Huh.
But they were like white women. It's this whole thing. And the guy was rich, but he was crazy, like Norman Bates style. It was weird. Yeah.
I mean, if it's that, I feel bad for being this excited about it.
No, be excited.
But like,
'cause
I'm
you
excited to
learn.
watch. Like, oh,
Yeah, I'll watch that shit.
By the way, it's based on like I think a novel that was probably just based on because it wasn't based on the book. It said based on this novel Thunderbird, which means that someone just made a version of it that's more palatable.
Possibly.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way that it's not based on. I will bet $100 right here, right now, that this is the story it's based on.
I mean, I'm not taking that bet.
Yeah, no.
I want someone to take that bet.
No, 100%, 100 with the Polaroids and the missing girls and her like starting to be. Yeah, I mean, yes.
Only serial killers use Polaroids anymore, huh?
Yeah.
I guess
because they don't want to go get their
you answer your in my head of why that is.
Wait, can I tell you something? I've heard the best stand-up joke the other day. Can I do somebody else's stand-up joke?
I would prefer you didn't actually.
Well, can I be honest? Because I shouted like, "I agree with you," and he was like, "Thank you." That's the first person who's ever. I was like, I think about this all the time too.
Right. I just in the interest of unless you can remember who the comic was and credit them.
I actually could probably figure it out. The concept. I won't say the joke then. It's how easy it is to do a mass shooting as opposed to being a serial killer. That's all I'll say, and it's something I think about a lot. like
Right,
which
it's
is like
kids these days.
it's a kids these days thing, but also like the amount of effort and time and work it took to like write ciphers, to like put the police to actually have this discipline to like wait a while.
Zodiac wasn't a slouch.
No, and then not only that, but it's like that versus like, you know, like somebody who's angry and has access to something like that. And that's not saying the joke at all, but like, so he was like, does anyone
The very dark version of the joke.
Oh, this is the light version of the joke. But he goes, does anyone else think about it? And I went, I think about this all the time. And he was like, yeah, okay, cool. Like one person. But like, yeah, they must hate kids these days getting like so much higher kill counts. And they probably like Hannibal Lecter style think it's rude to just do mass shootings like that.
If the Zodiac is still around, he's probably very angry about a lot of things.
Well, we had the Golden State Killer still around.
He's probably very upset about his support for Trump.
I mean, like, he was still calling those people, like, you know, it's a different kind of psychology, I think. But the copycat thing is like absolutely the same. Anyway, let's get off the Drew subject.
Yeah, let's move on.
It's not my favorite murder.
Next one is The Turning.
Okay.
This is
that horror movie with Finn Wolfhard.
Yes. Scary Wolfhard.
Scary Wolfhard.
Can't tell you the end of it. I guessed it already.
I mean, is this an actual spoiler or is this a guess?
It's a guess.
Okay.
But I'm pretty good at guessing. It's the daughter. It's not. He's trying to warn her off the property because it's the daughter with the supernatural powers.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I can see that.
Sure.
That's absolutely what it is.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm excited for this, but it hits every fucking
Right, it's just every horror trope.
Yeah, there's the wet footprints, there's the lady ghost, there's the
creepy kids, creepy house.
Stuff.
It's just an obviously haunted house.
Oh, maybe it's like a turn of the screw thing though. Like they're kind of like he's at least of that like adolescent age that maybe it's like her going a little bit crazy. Did we see anything about like a mom?
I don't know. Yeah,
well, their parents are dead.
Okay.
Yeah, what is
but
the deal?
But in Turn of the Screw, it's a hot uncle that hires her. And that's like kind of her thing.
I never saw that one.
No, it's a book.
I definitely never saw
Well,
that.
it's what season 2 of Hill House is going to be based on.
Oh, really?
Whoa, really?
Yes.
Oh my god, nice.
Yeah.
This is okay. This is a like a nanny, and
Yeah, that's
Wolfhard, spooky Wolfhard is being all spooky.
and the kids like they have their little games together. I wonder about like how much they're gonna go on the like traditional horror beat of like who's the creepy kid and how much of it's gonna be like a psychological horror of like how is she maybe she's going crazy, maybe it's her thing.
I think it's going to be more the literal.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I think so.
maybe, the way the trailer
really makes
looks.
it out.
Yeah.
It looks like there's like a spooky. I assume like I don't know, their mom or something is a ghost and putting spiders in mouths.
Or she's not dead and is really still in the house.
Right.
I mean,
Just like,
these again
I
are like
wouldn't-
educated guesses based on how the trailer's cut. But again, what he says to her is like, "You shouldn't be here. This is like dangerous." What does he say? Like,
you shouldn't be in
Yeah,
here.
I think
It's dangerous to you.
Yeah, it's not safe.
Yeah, I sort
But
of
for whom?
I agree with you because I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I think this is
Yeah.
going to
You
be one
think
of them
so?
horror movies that I don't know. It'll be fine.
Because I think Finn right now is a little bit of got a little bit of a pretentious thing going on. Like he did Goldfinch, he's got it too. I don't think he's gonna go for straight schlock or straight like the others kind of horror. I think it would have to have some sort of almost literary highbrow sensibility.
I mean, I hope so. They're presenting. That's the thing. It looks good. It's got a good director.
Who's the director?
Who's the director? That makes all the difference. And who wrote it?
Floria Sigismund. I'm bad with
just
names.
say what else they've done.
She directed a lot of TV,
Okay.
like Daredevil and The Handmaid's Tale, Katy Perry music videos. She mostly did a lot of music videos.
Okay. You know what?
American Gods, she did an episode. Hemlock Grove, that's not.
Yeah,
she
no.
did David Bowie the next day. Justin Timberlake, a couple David Bowies.
Yep. No, guys, this is Turn of the Screw. It's based on it. It says it in the fucking IMDb.
Does it?
Yeah, guys. It says it in the IMDb.
Well, shit.
Hired by a man based on Turn of the Screw.
Oh, okay. Well, all right then.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It is called The Turning.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's the second
okay,
time
so
I've
this
technically challenged something and managed to just guess it right. But
This all checks out. I'm kind of more excited about this because it's a good director. It's based off something that's good.
Right, and the whole idea is that we never know if it's a ghost or not, if she's just going insane. However, I get why in the trailer they don't want to make it look that because they want it to appeal to a broad audience.
Right.
So
Also, if it's full of cliches, I don't think it counts as much if it's based off something that probably helped establish those cliches.
Oh no, Turn the Screw is it's not very clichéable. But it's an old book. It's an old haunted house. Yeah, but like name one cliche that happens in Turn of the Screw.
I don't know. I've never read it.
Well, yeah.
Okay, no, like in Turn of the Screw, I mean, it's not conventional at all. It's very different.
Right.
The things that happen in it, the way it's an unreliable narrator, the events that happen, the way the kids react. I mean, the way that it's different. It doesn't have a lot of the cliches that you think of, but I see why they want to set it up in a trailer to make it palatable. No one wants to go to Henry James or whatever.
I also don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with like the cliches they show in the trailer.
Just think like it's going to be like Black Swan more than it's going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking great.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So that's it. Guys, I was right about something for the second time in 1 week. I just managed to gleam it.
Speaking of the opposite, Zombieland Double Tap has another trailer.
This with the corny ass narration.
What the fuck is with this trailer?
I don't know.
What do you mean? Why is the narration corny?
It's got the movie. Weird narration.
It was.
The movie had narration, right?
No,
this is like a No, you're thinking Eisenberg has like narration.
Yeah, this is like the trailer narrator.
Yeah, it's a trailer narrator. It's got a Monica Lewinsky joke. It's just like this is the 90s suddenly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like Zombieland,
which I do.
Yeah.
Okay, then you'll probably like this one. I didn't like Zombieland that much. But because they say from the writer of Deadpool and the director of this thing and the writer of this thing, what they mean is from the people who made the original Zombieland. They just don't say it in the trailer, which is weird.
Which one was the Venom guy?
The director.
The director of Venom, who also did Zombieland.
Who also did Zombieland.
Right. So that was what we were talking about. Me and my friend, we were like, didn't he also do Zombieland? Oh, is Venom considered better than Zombieland? No, I think it's just like Venom was an inadvertent comedy, or was a comedy that we didn't expect to be comedy.
It's also newer, I guess.
It was it also made $1 billion.
Right.
But like, it's so weird to be like, it's so weird to do that and not be like, and also the first Zombieland.
It is very strange that they don't mention it. It's the same people that made the original movie that everyone liked.
I think this is a thing that's happening now, though, is that if someone's remotely close to any superhero thing, they're going to highlight that in the trailer. It reminds me of the Children of Men trailer was from the director of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Be fair, they had nothing to go off of a dirty Children of Men.
That's true.
The most marketable person was Julianne Moore.
Yeah, it's just not a selling point. It was just silly.
Well, for the wrong audience.
He did one of the Harry Potters, so... this feels the same with like director of Venom, and it's like... Okay.
Well, I can see it both ways. It should have definitely, if they were going the Deadpool route, would have been like director of Venom and, also Zombieland.
Yeah, they could have done something funny with it.
What it makes it seem like now is that there was a problem in like the studio or in like the discussion and they found a new director, which makes it not great.
Well, I think what the problem is that they're thinking, even though it's a sequel to Zombieland, they're probably thinking, well, Zombieland was 10 years ago.
But we loved it.
Are the kids going to know what that was?
Right. Which is a hilarious thing to think about the Zombieland.
Abigail Breslin is old enough to have sex now, you guys.
That might be why they call it Zombieland Double Tap, maybe? Because they're like, not
it's
Zombieland 2.
Video game. Double Tap, yeah. That's what I assumed.
Well, and then also it's one of the rules from the first movie,
right? But I mean, like, just
what was
not
the first one.
The first rule?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Because I thought it was never get attached, but it turned out I found this through Schmodown recently. It was cardio because cardio is his first rule, and don't get attached is just the one I remember because it's the sad son story.
This is like it might be a symptom of trailers. I just haven't found a single joke in these trailers funny or good.
I just like all the people.
Yeah, that said, I think a lot of trailers for comedies have that problem where they're like, let's show the jokes that we can show in the trailer as opposed to the good jokes. So
this might actually be a kind of thesis point I'm realizing because also they can't do like the swelling music. They can't do the kind of same thing. Like, maybe I'm thinking Pineapple Express could with the MIA song, but for the most part, the jokes have to take center stage to any sort of swelling orchestral or some sort of movement that you feel because of the score or soundtrack. Yeah.
They also just have to find the jokes they can, like, boom, 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 the really quick ones.
Bill Murray's back, but I think it might be a flashback, and that's how we get a Monica Lewinsky joke, possibly.
Right. No, I think the Monica Lewinsky joke is just an outdated joke, because it's them in the future.
But who would get that in the future? Like, I don't even think Emma Stone would get him.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense either because it's the part where they go to the White House and it's all deserted. And they have, in the other trailer, they show there's like Obama stuff up. So we can assume that it's the Zombieland thing where it's like Zombieland happened 10 years ago, so like Obama was the last president. And then he takes out the cigars, and they're like, man, those cigars might not have been updated since the Clinton administration.
To be fair,
and he puts them away, and it's like, but what about all the other presidents?
Well, they
just skipped 2 presidents to
what
make
are you going to say
joke.
about Obama? Like, what are you going to say, though? Like, there's no funny joke about Obama.
Right. You just don't do
You could do something.
You could do a Clinton joke.
You could do a retcon being like, wow, I mean, like, if we were going to go out on a president, that was the one to go out on. Like, you could take some sort of dig, maybe.
But not a damn Clinton cigar joke. That's, again, it's probably...
Yeah, that doesn't feel right.
It's such a dated fucking joke. And, like, we've made a million reasons why, like, we shouldn't be making those jokes
Is it Woody
anymore.
Harrelson that says it, though? Because for some reason I feel like he
Is
gets
it?
a pass.
No, it's someone says it to Woody Harrelson.
Well, somebody says to Woody Harrelson, and then he's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
if
it's like
he's like, yeah, that's kind of cool because it's saying he doesn't give a shit.
Right. But the person making the joke is weird because
they'll
they're like
probably
in
be a
their
bad
20s.
guy. They'll probably end up being a bad guy.
I mean, I think it's like Jesse Eisenberg. It's just a weird... My point is that... I mean, I wasn't a fan of Zombieland, so I can't really weigh in too much on this. But this trailer... Like, these trailers just haven't done anything for me.
Okay, gotcha. I can't believe I got that turn the screw thing right. Sorry. Still so proud of myself.
Sure, yeah,
I was
bask in
like,
it.
I was like, come on. It sounds like... Okay, it's just right there. What's next one, guys?
Next one
Keep
is
them coming.
Undercover Brother 2.
Oh, my God.
Straight to video, VOD.
But starring Michael J. White.
I'm so fucking excited.
I know.
Well, there you go. This is sort of the problem of this whole culture in a nutshell. Like, Zombieland 2, maybe it's going to be good, but you're so excited for this movie. Why? Like, was the first one...
Because I love Undercover Brother.
Really?
No, for me, it's because I love Black Dynamite.
Oh, okay.
And it's Michael J. White
Right.
doing another, like, spoof of, like, a genre film from the 70s.
That's fair.
Like, blaxploitation.
Yeah, exactly.
I really liked Undercover Brother when it came out. I haven't watched it in a while, so just throwing that out because it's one of those comedies that I'm like...
I just didn't watch that many blaxploitation movies growing up, so I don't know what they're making. Like, I guess I'm just like, I don't know.
For Black Dynamite, you really didn't. You just needed to know the tropes because it's also like ripping on kung fu movies and.
Oh yeah, so it's all Quentin Tarantino's like jizz like coming out, like all the things he loves, blaxploitation movies and kung fu. And
he didn't make Black Dynamite though.
No, he didn't, but he did make Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, these are all things he likes. These are not problems of the genres. These are just things that Quentin Tarantino happens to like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just liked the first one. I like Dave Chappelle in that. I like Chris Kattan as the villain.
Yeah.
Do they have, like, is it like a Leslie Nielsen kind of, is it farcical?
Yeah.
Like in that kind of way?
Yeah.
Okay, I can get behind that. We need some more farce.
Yeah. This, I don't think, will be noticed.
No,
by
probably
people.
not.
I put it on here because it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
because
it's
it's like this is the first I heard of it, and it's coming out like I don't know,
soon.
Very soon on VOD, and it's just like fuck.
I hope that means he'll be able to get enough money to make his Western.
Who?
Michael J. White.
Really?
Yeah.
He was trying to raise money through, I think, GoFundMe or something else to make a follow-up to Black Dynamite that's like a Western spoof.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Like Blazing Saddles. Like
kind of, yeah. It looked. I mean, they only had like a concept trailer, but I'm very pro him making more movies.
Either that, or this was his fallback, where he's like, "That's not working out. I'll just make Undercover."
Maybe he's getting money to put it into the other one.
No, I hope.
I mean, I'm still don't understand like that how we got a Brie Larson like unicorn movie with Samuel L. Jackson the same year that we got the Marvel. Like one of them had to be kickstarted, right? Like when did
I think that's just Netflix or something.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, that was okay.
Throwing around their magic money hat.
Yeah.
I've like as long as they still can. You notice Netflix when you try to sign in now, it's like asking you as if you're the first time customer, being like, just for this much amount of money. It's not that much money, and it's like,
are they saying that now?
Yeah, like I went to I cleared my cash, and it was like signed into Netflix, and they're like, guys, seriously, not that much money. I know it seems like a lot of money, but it's not that much money.
They've never bothered me.
Yeah, I haven't been bothered yet, but I haven't
clean out your exactly, because they're getting scared about the Disney thing.
Right.
which I don't think they necessarily should be as much as I don't think they should be at the Hulu and Netflix is still going to have a lot of proprietary rights over a lot of good TV show.
Yeah, I don't think they need to be that scared, but I think part of them are also like, hey, remember what we did to Blockbuster?
Yeah.
Like that's
about to happen to us.
Yeah, let's make sure. Well, let's make sure it doesn't happen to us.
Yeah.
By the way, the second I left LA, I got an email from a recruiter for Netflix asking me if I was interested in like heading up there. Oh, I told you about this.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, and then I interviewed, and they were like, she was like, cool, no. I was like, is it because I'm in New York now? And she's like, no, it just wasn't the right fit. And I was like, God damn it, you really hurt my feelings, but I also feel so relieved that I don't have to go back to LA. However, there's apparently a bunch of them opening up in New York too to get ready for the 2024 office. And as far as I can tell, like working for Netflix, like publicity, like, marketing, whatever, is actually a pretty good job.
I've looked into it. Yeah, it looks kind of fun.
It actually seems like the closest you can get to like loving your job.
It's got that .com feel where they're just like, woo!
Or like, like being like the head of original films, like something like that where you're like really could just own a space and like promote it. That sounds awesome.
All right, final trailer. Whitesnake.
This was not about the band.
I love this trailer so much. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
that looks pretty sweet. Yeah,
you know why? Because that's something new. Like, we really need to be taken from a lot of other cultures here. Did you guys watch Love, Sex, and Robots?
No.
Okay.
That's on the Netflix, right?
Yeah, that's on the Netflix. Well, one of the little interstitial things is about a guy who is in love with I guess like her thing is that she turns into a fox and she like hunts at night, but because of the Industrial Revolution, it gets harder and harder to find food. She becomes a prostitute. They cut off her legs, so he builds her a fox body, in which she's able to like manifest the familiar.
These things happen.
Yeah, and I just love that. That's like just kind of like that. This part of the culture that we'd never be like. That's totally normal. You're in love with her, and then she turns into a snake, and blah blah.
Yeah, we should probably talk about what this trailer's about.
Well, this is Frozen but snakes.
Yeah,
it's Frozen.
It's a Japanese animated film.
Is it Frozen but snakes?
I think so. It seems to be for
it's very
like
similar. Yeah,
and one of them turns into a snake and like
with ice powers.
With ice powers, and everybody's
but
like,
I think the other sister's evil, isn't it?
Maybe.
I don't know. It's just feels
there's like a third guy in there trying to kill everyone.
Yeah, it's inspired by Frozen, I should say, but it felt very much like the pitch meeting was like Frozen but snakes.
Careful. I mean, it might just be based on a Japanese folktale about like frozen snakes.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time Disney has ripped off another country,
or just like two ideas.
I'm just saying that this looks like Frozen, like with snakes, and
I can't wait. I think like
I'm very excited,
and it's also like a very female. I mean. The idea of like that transformation, that sort of creature feature thing that happens to women in horror movies is very different from the way they approach it in other cultures, which is like that is your magic emblem, that's your Patronus, that's your power.
Right.
Like it's not she's a horrifying snake. It's like look at her go, slither, 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 slither.
What if the soundtrack is all Whitesnake?
That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it's going to be dubbed over by the time it makes it here? And who do you think's going to do the voices?
I think we live in a time where it can be, and that would be fine because we can just do that shit with animation now.
Yeah, and I also think like the celebrity voices adds to it, but I also
I don't think at first. Because I think this is getting released soon. I think this is
in November.
Yeah, and it's been around for like a year.
So it's the anime nerds. I get it.
And it's already been out in other countries, and then here it's out now. So maybe in that time they were trying to get it dubbed and shit. But this trailer doesn't show any of that, and this is the trailer for it coming out here.
Well, here's the thing. By the time it gets to Netflix, it's going to be dubbed one way or another because that's what they do. And by the way, that's the most annoying point of Marianne is that like the dubbing.
Oh, you can do the subtitle option. I know.
I do both, and they don't match up, and it drives me nuts.
Oh, yeah.
They're saying completely different things.
This is one of my like. If I could choose a superpower, one of the contenders would be to speak every language.
You'd be Cypher.
Sure, whatever that is.
That's an X-Man.
Oh, okay.
X-Man?
For two reasons. One is like, so I can just watch everything and not have to read.
That's the main reason.
That's the main reason.
What a beautiful and like, by the way, it's like just really, truly beautiful and innocent reason to want to have a superpower to watch all the content. Like that is beautiful.
I want to be a better consumer.
Well, I mean, my second reason is world domination.
Well, obviously.
No, my second reason is that okay.
You can hear what
I
they're
might be
talking
actually
shit
totally
about you.
wrong about this. Is that for a while you'd always have a backup job as an interpreter, but now I'm realizing that that's going to go away to the robots pretty fucking soon.
Oh wait, no, not even that, but like you can have a job literally in any country because you can be like the one white guy who's explaining like the culture to
just speaking every language. That seems like it's you can there's got to be a job for a guy who can speak every language.
There's a ton of jobs like that, but there's a few auto dictates. Is that
I can be the interpreter, like Nicole Kidman in that movie.
You could be.
I forget the name of. And then
was it one with not Gerald Butler, the other one, Gladiator dude.
Russell Crowe. No, it's called The Interpreter. Sean Penn. Is he in the Interpreter?
I believe so.
I've never seen The Interpreter. Should I see The Interpreter?
Let me go to the board on this, but I think he is in The Interpreter.
Let's move on.
Wait, hold on. Tom.
No, I mean in terms of you guys move on. I just want to make sure that I'm on a roll here.
Okay, back to news stories then. Oh my gosh.
Sorry. What the fuck?
Oh my gosh.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I thought I was doing something good. Okay, go ahead. Keep
Guy
going.
Ritchie is making a truck heist movie with Jason Statham.
Okay. Well.
Yes.
One jump ahead of the rich guys. I finally saw Aladdin. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was fine.
No, I actually liked Aladdin, and I think it's good for him to go back to something that he's better at.
Yeah. I thought that's
Aladdin,
the best way of putting it. Is that Guy Ritchie is a good director, but he's in top form when he's doing these fucking crime movies with Jason Statham
that he also has written.
So it's just like,
I will say, like the feminist angle or like the stuff he added and the stuff that he made sure to make a point of, I was like very well done. It wasn't overdone, and it wasn't like he felt like he was being forced to do it.
Yes, it did not feel forced,
and that's not something you usually get in Guy Ritchie movies. So just for that reason alone, I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
kind of like it. Hot Jafar. It also felt it was like made for the ladies. I was like, Hot Jafar is such a daddy. It's just he
was throwing off waves of daddy vibes.
Yeah. I was so.
There's a cut song called Daddy Vibes.
Yeah. Daddy Vibes.
I mean,
it just really showcases his coke fingernail.
Yeah. Your review of it really oversold how much Billy was going to be in that movie. And I was severely disappointed.
I just said he was delightful.
I know, but I like that 3 seconds. I got to see Billy and doing something. But otherwise, no, I really liked it in terms of what I thought it meant. Again, like Bret Easton Ellis style, what it meant for him to be doing this movie and saying these things without making a big deal about it being like the woman's issue.
We talked about this when we reviewed it. Is that in theory, like, Guy Ritchie doing an Aladdin movie sounds awesome.
I haven't disagreed that the whole New World scene was necessarily like that different from the movie. Like they don't. I don't know, maybe they go to like France or Paris or whatever, but they're basically spending the whole time in the sky.
Right. Yeah. It's that's the thing with all the Disney ones is like taking like Disney cartoons that were beautiful and like animated and being like, we're going to make a live action version. I think it's just fundamentally boring.
I had an uncanny valley issue with the main guy's face in that he looked exactly like how Aladdin looked, like that smile and stuff. I was like, that's not a real person.
Yeah, it was fucked up.
Yeah. It was so fucked up. His face looks like Aladdin's face.
Well, all right. On the subject of Disney, segue. Disney is apparently using some sort of digital tool to check for gender bias in scripts.
Perfect.
This is fucking hilarious to me.
Right.
What is non-binary? A computer.
Yeah. I just like that they're like, should we hire more women? No, let's just get a
Let's make an algorithm to do it.
Oh, no, it's perfect because sometimes the idea is like gender non-binary, right? It's not just about getting more women. It's about like the idea of parity across all things. But 011011, like the idea of talking about binary in any capacity involving machines is like a bit. That's like a bit I did last week.
It's just so
right. It's so funny that rather than hiring a more diverse pool of writers, like we'll just have a machine do it. It's like, yeah, the machine. You mean the things that always get everything right and never make a mistake.
Well,
I mean, like, they're
to,
funny, haha.
like when I read this story, the next story that came up is the next story we have here, which is that Len Wiseman is directing a female-driven John Wick spinoff.
Yep.
And it's like, well, there's your fucking problem,
Well,
you guys.
is it? Because, like, Jeff May said, like, I got that thing with Jeff May the other day where he was like, the thing about his girlfriend's always asking to do podcasts, and I was like, I can't wait for a decade
That was
from
today.
now. Yeah, today. And I was like, well, it started last night. And I was like, I can't wait for the, 10 years from now when I'm allowed to make one called Every Single Boyfriend I Ever Had. And it's like, but the idea that it has to suck because it is a woman John Wick movie. What if it's Tilda Swinton?
Len Wiseman is.
We're
what
not
I'm
talking about that. We're talking about the fact that it's being made by the Underworld guy.
It's the fact that Disney is creating an algorithm to check for bias. Meanwhile, the female-led John Wick is still going to be run by a dude.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Disney's not watching. By the way, how bad is, I don't know this. How bad of a dude is he?
No, he's not. He's fine. Len Wiseman.
He hasn't.
He did the Underworlds. He's as bad as doing the Underworld.
He's made several movies that have a female protagonist, but it's very male gazy. That's
the Kate Beckinsale one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, so I think Disney screening process, considering the James Gunn thing at this point, is like very intense. And if Guy Ritchie can make a like sort of proto-feminist version of Aladdin, then that means he went in wanting to do that. And like being like, give me a chance. So maybe.
No, this will probably be fine.
I'm wondering, do we know who's going to be in it? Because I really want it to be Tilda.
No idea yet.
I assume Halle Berry.
Too old.
But
too old.
Not too old. Fucking
too old.
Keanu's like 55.
Yeah,
Oh my
Keanu's
God,
like
guys,
76.
calm down for a second. I meant
Too
too old.
old?
Oh, yeah. Drew's such a bad guy. Too old. Too old because, there are physical differences in people's bodies. And, I don't think that
She was in John Wick 3.
I know she was in John Wick 3.
She kicked ass.
She did kick ass. But I don't think she's going around, killing. I don't know. I just don't see it happening like that. She's not the top assassin. She's getting to the retirement age.
It just makes sense because they're calling it a spin-off.
Oh, the spin-off. Okay, that makes a difference.
That said, there's plenty of female characters who's already been in the John Wick set.
Sure, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a character we've already
I just
seen.
want it to be Halle Berry.
Yeah, it's cool because I've never seen John
With her
Wick 3.
puppies.
And I kind of remember 2 and maybe 1. And that's a fact I'll just admit here. I'm okay with admitting that
You've never seen any of them?
I saw the first one, and I have trouble differentiating it between the second one. They're for me. I like the movies, but they were brought to me via a way that I didn't like. So I shut down about it, and then I refused to see the third one.
They 100% blend together.
But I think the third one was supposed to be, amazing. So
it's pretty great.
They're all great. They blend together in a sense that, I wouldn't mind having all 3 movies just in one file and just skipping around at random.
They lead directly into each other too. So
sure, you could do it that way, Tom.
Yeah.
Wait, so you mean
or
like
you can have
an
them on
extended
random
universe?
skip.
Oh sure,
Like an extended universe idea, or
no? The first one ends. The second one begins right as the first one ends, and
Right.
the same thing with the third one. So it's like one continuous
oh right, because
couple
there's
of days.
Stormare. Stormare's yikes, you killed my brother, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just dog death, a lot of dog death.
Just the one dog.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was
It was pretty
intense.
bad.
There's dog death in the sense that dogs causing death in the third one.
It's true.
Wow, the dogs rise of the planet of the John Wick doggies.
Mm-hmm.
They're Halle Berry's doggies.
Oh,
Pretty sweet.
again, I have seen the poster and then I got fired. So, I did not watch anything else involving John Wick that
Sure.
weekend. However, I do want to see that. And again, just not to be on a soapbox here, I still wouldn't want to see that in a theater either. It would be overwhelming. It would be too much noise.
Oh, it's I love it.
Just personally,
For theater.
too much noise.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was sitting behind Christopher Nolan during Dunkirk, and I kept having to leave and go cry.
Damn it. I was hoping you would turn around in your seat, look him straight in the eye, and go, too much noise, Chris. Too much noise.
Slap him on the head every
Yeah.
time you get up. It's too loud.
All right.
What
You
dream state is
jerk.
this?
Yeah, what level are we in?
Final news
You
story.
nerd.
Nerd.
This is probably... I actually wanted to talk to you about this, Tom. This might not be the movie we just watched for this weekend. There's a few options. But
Okay.
in the event, Gemini Man is this weekend.
That's true.
And I just read an article that the budget was $130 million.
Yeah.
That's too much, right?
I get it because it's a big Will
I
Smith
get it.
They
action
had
movie.
to hire another Will Smith. You know how expensive
They had to clone Will Smith, and that technology is so new. It's very expensive.
Do you know how much another new Will Smith costs? That's like Jaden like through a machine.
Right.
Right, they had to blast Jaden with gamma rays.
Exactly.
This is someone also pointed out that Will Smith hasn't made a movie that's gotten good reviews since Men in Black 3. This is a disaster waiting to happen, and I think I might enjoy this movie.
What's the plot of it again? Because I do think there's a lot of doppelganger movies, and not a lot of, besides us, like doppelganger, like people of color movies, like that idea of like running. That's a very like Russian idea.
I don't know if there's that many doppelganger movies.
Yeah, I mean, like just in the tropes of like running into the stranger, like the
Right.
Gyllenhaal movie, the Jesse.
You went
Eisenberg.
to Enemy. I went to The Sixth Day in my head.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of like those ones of not just meeting a twin, but meeting a
Right.
doppelganger. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for this. This just feels like a early 2000s sci-fi, which I love.
like a Doug Liman movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems very Doug Liman. I
Yeah.
am stunned that his name is Ang Lee directed it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's the part that is almost like the hook.
Yeah.
That makes me. I'm like, okay, well, if
Really?
Yeah.
if you believe in it, like, did they end up kissing?
I bet it might have like a really cool twist or something.
they kiss.
Not twist,
incredible
but
in it, or
I feel like they might have something emotionally resonant.
Yeah. There might, this might matter. This might be I think this might be a good movie. I'm just predicting this is also going to be a horrible bomb.
I mean, like, also compared to what it's up against, but the idea of like, I hate that trope of like, oh, you have a twin and he's doing better at your life than you are, blah blah blah.
Right.
That's like the whole thing. This seems like it might tackle some different issues of identity besides a Super Friday or Free Friday swap.
I do like the idea of having a doppelganger who just kind of sucks.
You know what I mean? Like, right? Because then you're
doppelganger.
the good one.
Yeah, it kind of sucked.
That's
Exactly. I was the good one. I gave him some money. And
Isn't Paul Rudd coming out in a movie like that?
It's a Netflix thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember anything about it.
Well,
So like
basically,
living with myself or something like that.
but he's like like in most stories, he's the schlubby one, and then the new doppelganger's better.
Right.
I have like a thing to plug, kind of. If you guys are ready for things to plug.
No, we're not.
Okay, sorry. I thought we were at the end of the show here, people.
We got one more.
Okay, sorry, I didn't look down the list.
We gotta. I think Dave might have a movie that deserves more hype.
That's true.
Oh
Tom.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
This is coming out October 25th. Mm-hmm. It's called Portals. It's an anthology film
Yes.
Yep.
from the guy who co-directed the Gareth Evans one in VHS 2, The Cult.
Yeah.
So it's not Ty West, and it's not the guy from the.
No, it's the guy. It's the guy that directed The Night Comes for Us.
Yep. The director of Blair Witch, also the producer of Blair Witch.
Blair Witch Project or Blair Witch?
Blair Witch Project.
So that means the Your Next guys.
No, Blair Witch is Adam
Project.
Wingard.
God,
The
right,
original.
sorry.
The original Blair Witch
Oh,
Project.
They
that's
did the
interesting.
Ride in the Park in VHS 2, if you remember. The zombie.
The zombie on the
one.
bicycle. Yeah.
Yep, which I would
Aye.
consider that's two of the best of VHS 2.
Oh no! Now we're into this stuff I don't like. Did anyone see the XX?
No.
Like,
No, not yet. I need to.
no, you don't actually. These horror anthologies don't work for me.
Greg Hale, who's the producer of Blair Witch, he co-directed Ride, and then Liam O'Donnell, who we don't have to talk about what he's done.
What is
Skyline.
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 But this is an anthology about a fucking series of portals.
Yes.
And they don't in the trailer. I can kind of assume where the anthology part comes, but it's hard to tell.
Well, anthology is a hard thing to do in movies because, by definition, the anthology needs to be like a self-contained thing. And if these people all team up or whatever, I could see this as a TV show. That being said, this is literally a no sleep story that they already did on Channel Zero that was called the No End House. Like this idea of the portal that takes you into a thing and getting. It's also like a no sleep story that's literally called The Square or The Cube, where that one of the it's a combination of a bunch of different no sleeps.
Yeah,
and
the portals are monoliths in this one.
Monoliths, right? But like these are, unless they gave David Cumming or whoever wrote the story credit, and which they might have, the chick from Haunting of Hill House like was a no sleep writer. This is just very much like ripping off of two major like famous stories in that Reddit.
Sure.
So I have to kind of think that.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't want to look it up.
I don't know much about it. That's the thing. It's coming out. Let's see. Oh no, it's coming out. I already said October 25th, so we can find out by the end of the month.
Is it like Buzzy? Buzz?
No, it's not. That's why it's a movie that deserves more hype.
I mean, okay, I'm into it.
There's something really creepy about the portals.
Yes.
The concept of it, and then I want to know how it goes into the anthology. I assume it's people go through portals,
and that begins the story. Yeah, I assume
the through line is like a guy who goes to the hospital and he gets the through line sounds. Dumb.
What is it?
The through line is like a guy who goes to the hospital and gets surgery, and then he can like see cosmic things in the hospital because of the surgery.
Oh my god!
Which just sounds kind of dumb, but the people who are behind it, plus the concept, it all again, it's just gotten my interest.
I'm worried though because the problem with VHS and the problem with all these is the overarching story is like kind of like silly and almost would work better as if like it doesn't. It just with separate stories of separate people going into portals. Like, I would like that more than the whole rigmarole around it. This is...
Anthologies always have that.
But no, I mean, like, the XX, like, for its own credit, didn't. It was just like, hey, these are all written by women, directed by women.
Right.
It doesn't need to have, like, they went into a house and got a thing. I have hope for this because I'm hoping that some of the No Sleep people, who I think are some of the best horror writers, like, today, are involved in it. Otherwise, there's probably, like, a lawsuit.
I don't know.
However, if you've watched the 2-second horror or 2-line horror thing on
2-sentence horror.
Yeah, that's the worst show I've ever watched in my life. And if you're gonna pick a subreddit,
that's a show.
Yeah, why? If you're gonna pick a subreddit about horror to like, make a show about, how the hell did you get past No Sleep unless they're doing portals?
Right. Unless, well, I like the idea. If I was a producer right now, I would go through No Sleep and just find people to hire.
That's what Ryan Reynolds did. He found like a story that he's going to adapt. The one about I have a doctor and I think this. All right, I'm a doctor and this patient is. Yeah.
I would also argue that you just have to make sure that these people, because it's also a forum, and that idea of trolling a forum to find writers. You gotta like confirm, right, that they wrote those things.
Well, also a lot of them has to do with the podcast, which is the ones that they screen like very vigilantly, and they're usually written by the same people, including Mark Andreyko, one of the Schmodown people. Excuse me a second. And a lot of them, like, they are audio dramas. They are very, very good, and they have like an original way of telling it that I really can't compare to anything except that British show Inside Number 9, in the sense that there's like a twist or a hook that doesn't feel gimmicky or hacky. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think the best of No Sleep is it's pretty good at not self-plagiarizing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they must vet it.
I mean, not only that, but like they notice if you self-plagiarize. Also, some of them are like this long. But the best No Sleep ever, the most popular one, is about a guy who's with his grandfather, and they're building a time machine and like fighting all these things. And his whatever it is, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it ends up just being a metaphor for how his grandfather died of dementia and like lost all these memories, and like them going through time and like reliving it. It was a very Big Fish kind of story, and I was like bawling. I was like, these are the kind of movies I'd love to see. Like, these are the narratives that are well written. Not everyone, but a lot of No Sleep, I think, can be like championed as the best kind of internet fiction. And drew out, I guess. Oh no, wait.
Okay, so people check out Portals. Check out the trailer. End of the month. I don't know. I don't think it's on
streaming.
I assume it's on streaming. I don't think it's in theaters.
Yeah, no,
but
probably not.
if you love the VHS, if you love this anthology crap, which I do sometimes,
I want to see who's involved. Yeah, I mean, in writing wise.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's a sode.
Yeah.
I think we did
it. Guys, I do have something to say.
Yeah, this is where we give you the things to say.
Okay. It's not even my thing. This is about a documentary that I'm helping involved with, but everyone seems to be freaking out about it because it doesn't have a distributor. We haven't submitted it to festivals, and yet it's getting so much buzz because of, I guess, if you grew up in the area. It's called Class Action Park, about Action Park in New Jersey, which was a water park that was owned by a crazy, like, Trumpian, like, figure and they covered up about 6 children's deaths.
Is this the one with the loop-de-loop
Yep.
slide that
Yep.
just designed for murder?
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
no, it was not designed for murder. It was designed by the fringe of like the Disney like ride designers. Like literally these guys coming up like Rick and
The
Morty style.
Imagineers who got fired.
Yeah, exactly. They were like
Twisted Imagineers.
Like
yeah.
they literally were the Imagineers that were like doing coke and being like, well, if we do this, like not doing the laws of physics,
Right.
anything. But half the people in the documentary remember it as this beautiful period of life because there were no adult supervision. It was like very much like Lord of the Flies over there. Chris Gethard's like a big part of the movie, talking about like how amazing of an experience it was to be like on your own, Lost Boys,
Sure.
doing this. And then there was just a bunch of deaths that were covered up, like in a massive.
That's pretty
conspiracy.
crazy.
What is
So-
the documentary called again?
It's called Class Action Park. It's a TBD.
Oh, I like that title.
Yeah, right. So Seth Porges made it. It just the trailer dropped. I said, don't expect much. It doesn't have distribution, and it's already got a Times profile. So just be on the lookout for this thing. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely.
The trailer's online.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, that's all I got going for me. Is somebody else's thing.
Let me tell you guys about our Patreon.
Oh, please do.
Patreon.com/gamefully unemployed. We have exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder is a Maniac. We got a bunch of tiers there. We got, I think our highest tier is open currently. You can basically produce podcasts. And if you can produce podcasts, you can make us do 2 podcasts a month about whatever you want. You don't even have to show them to people.
Hey, you can just keep them tucked away in your sock drawer for all time.
Doesn't matter. We also have other tiers where you can watch movies with us every Friday. We have tiers where you can request episodes of We Just Watched. Go over there and check it out. It's fucking fantastic.
Oh, I
Do
just
all
had a
that.
really good idea of subscribing to a Patreon tier and making you watch a movie.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Also check out our store, tpublic.com/store/gamefully-unemployed. We got some new stuff in there. We got some stuff that's coming on the way, so check it out.
Little friends, little enemies, a little.
Yeah, so do those things and
Do
nothing else.
Don't do anything.
Not any
Not
other
a
things.
single other thing.
Nothing.
Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, CORLEW, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.